Vinny Tortorich here. Hey man, if you're a fan of Izzy, you might be a fan of me too. I'm the guy that gets people to lose a lot of weight. I have something free for you guys. This is no clickbait. Just go to VinnyTortorich.com and there's a big banner. It's a free PDF, how to lose weight. It's an intro guide to NSNG at VinnyTortorich.com. Go check it out exclusively for anyone who listens to Izzy Presley. Thank you.
Hey ladies, Sass Pants Designs will take that rock shirt that everyone has and make it your own in a flattering, sassy, and simple way. There are one-of-a-kind tank tops, lace-up tees, and tube top dresses already in stock. Check out the online store at sasspantsdesigns.com and like Sass Pants Designs on Facebook for special offers and custom orders. That's sasspantsdesigns.com, sasspantsdesigns.com. Sass Pants will make you the envy of the party.
Retro Arcade brings Minnesota and surrounding areas arcade games from the days gone by. All of those great games from pizza joints and arcades are available in cocktail units and custom machines. Dozens of favorites from your youth in one machine to complete your game room or man cave. Retro Arcade also sells and services your favorite pinball machines. Find them at facebook.com/80arcade. That's facebook.com/80arcade. Retro Arcade. Your youth is just one click away.
Replay Guitar Exchange is your premier independent guitar store. Being independent is good. With all of the major brands, including new, vintage, and pre-owned, you can find the guitar, bass, amp, or accessory you are dreaming of. From vintage to the newest models, Replay Guitar Exchange can help you find that perfect piece. They have industry veteran expert staff, all players like you down to the owner. You aren't just getting a great guitar, you're getting the Replay difference. Find them online at replayguitar.com and find your dream guitar today.
Hi, this is Bobby Brown, and welcome to another fucking podcast.
You kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games, don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
See, son, old legends never die. They just lose weight.
Like a legend and an out-of-work bum with a lot of life.
Hello, you crazy dick fucker!
Party time!
Yes, it is party time. Hello, Hollywood. Hello, world. And hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you, and it's always good to be seen. Izzy Presley here, coming to you live from beautiful downtown Burbank, where it is not as frigid as where I was and not as frigid as where Steve Brown is. We're going to get to him in just a second. Oh my God, what a couple weeks. And I was going to give you a full recap, but then I get a message from Mr. Brown. He's like, dude, I'm available now. So we're going to bring him in just a second. So hold tight. Yes, just hold tight. Make sure you do hit up all the social media. All the way across the board is Real Izzy Presley. And of course, the show page is Another Effin' Podcast. Holidays coming up. Hit that, hit Another Effin' Podcast Facebook page. And click that Shop Now button. Buy some of my wonderful t-shirts like, you know, I Don't Want Your Fucking CD, and I Love Van Hagar, and the 300th episode t-shirt, and Another Effin' Podcast t-shirts, and Act a Tribute to Ace Frehley t-shirts. All that kind of good stuff is available there at the 10% discount right now. Use I think the promo code is Holiday10, something like that. I think that's what it is. Whatever. And if you don't want my stupid t-shirts, you just want to donate to the show, it is izzypresley@yahoo.com is the PayPal. Happy to take all financial, inductions. Always happy about that. And of course, there is a PayPal link right on the right on the show page there. So fuck it, we're just gonna bring him in now. You're in Wisconsin, right, Steve?
I am, brother. I'm in Baraboo, Wisconsin. I gotta say, this is probably the first, all my years, 30 years of touring, first time here, and it is it's a crisp 9 degrees outside right now.
I tell you what, I was sitting at the Terminal 2, the Humphrey Terminal, on Sunday morning before I flew back, and it was fucking 10 degrees outside, and I'm just like, fuck this. And I got out of there right before the snow hit. So it was like perfect timing.
You're a lucky man, brother.
Hey, I was sitting at the Minnesota Wild Bar having a beer, having my last McGolden Light before I took off, and I'm like, oh my God, 60 degrees and raining is never going to feel so good.
That's right. Well, that's always the way it is. But you never forget. You know what? Like I say, the cold weather. You were born and raised in I think Minnesota. That's where you grew up or whatnot. So, and I'm a Jersey guy. Winters are rough, but you know what? It makes us who we are. The characters that we are, tough as nails and heavier than metal, as I like to say.
Well, I am definitely heavy. There's no doubt about that. So what are you doing up there? Are you on tour right now with that the Wizards of Winter?
I am. We are on our 2019 tour across America, the Wizards of Winter, the Christmas Dream Tour, and my debut tour with the band this year. Wizards of Winter's been together. This is the 10th year anniversary, and this is my debut tour, and I'm having a blast out with these guys. You know, my bandmate in Tokyo, Motorfist, and I think the listeners will know, on bass guitar is the great Greg Smith, who played with Rainbow, played with Alice Cooper, and he's Ted Nugent's current bass player, currently the longest member ever of the Ted Nugent Band.
Wow!
So, yeah, and he's out here with me, and the band's just phenomenal, and it's a really cool thing for me because, you know, I've never done one of these like TSO Christmas things, and this is certainly, you know, we're not at the level of TSO, of course, selling out arenas and stuff like that, but we are selling out theaters and, you know, big clubs around America, and I'm having a blast doing it.
So, no, I'm not really familiar with it. I mean, obviously it's a Christmas type thing, or quote unquote holiday, not to offend anybody. Yeah, fuck that. It's fucking Christmas. And so is it, I mean, are you playing like Christmas standards, or is it like new instrumental stuff? I mean, what exactly is it?
You'd have to check it out. Go to Wizards of Winter. But no, it's real. It's very much like the TSO stuff. It's all original material.
Oh, wow.
I think there's some of like the classical, kind of the public domain stuff. So a little bit of Christmas, you know, the standard thrown in. But no, I mean, you know, go on YouTube, check out Wizards of Winter, Handel's Torch. It's real. It's very heavy guitar driven.
Okay.
Classically influenced. You know, hard rock with a Broadway operatic tinge. You know, the story, it's, you know, the Wizards of Winter concept basically deals with all of the elements of the Christmas journey. Happy, sad, hard times, bad times, and everything in between. Along with, as we all know, everybody associates the, you know, Christmas with, you know, family, friends, and religion or whatnot.
Yeah.
And this deals with every facet of it. We have Tony Gaynor, who's the narrator, who was with Trans-Siberian Orchestra for 15 years. He narrates the show, and we go through this musical and visual journey that the TV, you know, the video screens and the lighting and stuff. It's a really, really phenomenal show, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
How long has that been going on?
Well, we're about halfway done with the tour. We have 26 dates on this 2019 run, and so we're at the halfway point right now. Okay. So we are in the thick of it. We started the tour. You're going to love this. We started the tour in Key West, Florida. In the middle of November. It was 80 degrees, and you know, it's pretty surreal when you're playing Christmas music in Key West. You know, you couldn't be more further south in America, and that's where we started the tour. We started in Florida. We did 4 shows in Florida. Then we headed out west to Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico. And then we did a homegrown stand in New York and New Jersey, sold out shows for the hometown fans and friends and family. And then we just started up last week. We started out in Indiana, and now we're in America's heartland.
Please tell me when you were in Key West that you guys played it on the beach.
Yeah, no, sadly we didn't, but we played. We went to the, you know, we went and tried to go to the beach, but we went to that famous marker, you know, the furthest south point of, you know, North America or whatnot, you know, so that was kind of cool. And, you know, another one, in all my years of touring, I never have been to Key West. So, and
really?
Yeah, my brother lives in Florida. My grandparents lived in Florida. I spent so much time, and it's one of my favorite places in the world. But I never went to that, never went down that one-lane highway all the way down. And I got to say, I loved it. And the crowds in Key West were phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to going back.
Dude, that's badass. I still can't believe you've never been to Key West. That's insanity.
It is insanity, man, and I've been known for my insanity and insane behavior. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And I guess I didn't realize that the entire band was West Coast or East Coast guys.
Yeah. The band is basically the band was formed by Scott and Sharon Kelly, and they're New Jersey guys. And actually, they grew up. Their husband and wife team who started the Christmas Dream of Wizards of Winter, and they're Bergen County people. So they grew up in a couple towns over from where I did in Paramus, New Jersey, and most of the band, Greg Smith and John O'Reilly, are Long Island guys. So it's all homegrown East Coast, New York, New Jersey.
Fucking beautiful. Let's talk about Tokyo Motorfist. I mean, you guys are going to be on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and I'm rather excited about that. How did this whole thing come about?
Well, it's one of these, Tokyo Motorfist came about through the great Frontiers Records, my friends Serafino and Mario at Frontiers. We've been working together for a long time. We did 2 great records with Trixter through Frontiers, and they're big, as you know, and I'm sure you've interviewed many of the guys that have done these quote-unquote supergroups.
Right.
And that's certainly, Tokyo Motorfist is hands down the world's greatest and favorite supergroup, and we're going to show everybody on the Monsters of Rock cruise who the best of all these supergroups are. But and I say that with a wink and a smile.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
We don't need any bitter musicians and guitar players trying to attack me on social media. It's just a joke, guys.
It would never happen. It would never happen, would it?
Oh, of course it will. Especially the bitter guitar players out there in other bands. But that's another joke and another story. Aside. But so and it starts out with a friendship of Ted Poley and myself that dates back 30 plus years now. I knew Ted way before he was in Danger when he was still a drummer in the great New Jersey band Prophet. And we were friends since I was a little kid. Ted's a little older than me, but when I first started Trixter, I would go to Ted's apartment and get advice from him, and we would just hang out and talk shop. And I remember vividly when he joined Danger, and he was playing me the stuff, and I said, man, this stuff is great. You're going to be huge with it. And then, when they got their deal, this is a great story. You're going to love this. We were backstage. I was backstage with the Trixter guys at Bon Jovi when they played the Giants Stadium in 1989 on the New Jersey tour.
Wow.
We got backstage for that, and I saw Ted and Steve West. And Ted goes to me, man, you got to join Danger. You man, I'll have you. His exact words were, I'll have you driving a Ferrari within a year. He was that confident Danger was going to be that big. And, but lo and behold, the friendship is ensued, and my friendship with the Danger guys, with Bruno and Steve, date back, many, many years. And then here we are, 27 years later, whatever, talking about this. And though I didn't get a Ferrari from Ted Poley, at least I'm going to be on the Monsters. I'm going to be on the Monsters of Rock cruise with Ted Poley and Ted Poley and my Tokyo Motorfist guys doing the Monsters of Rock cruise. So yeah, that's the consolation prize I get.
Yeah, it's gonna be, well, at least get one of his rings out of him. Because he's selling some rings. At least it's not that says Ferrari on it, so that way you can say he got you your Ferrari.
Exactly, man. And and the other cool thing is, we have Greg Smith on bass guitar, who's the bass player in the Wizards of Winter, who kind of brought me into the Wizards fold. Greg is another old friend, we're like brothers. And we have Chuck Berge, who's the great drummer. He's Billy Joel's drummer right now.
Oh,
but
wow.
A lot of your listeners will know him as he played half of the drums on the first Bon Jovi record. He was in Rainbow. That's him on Street of Dreams by Rainbow.
Wow.
And he's done numerous things. He was in Hall & Oates. So it really is an all-star band. And we're on our second record, Frontiers, now. I just got yesterday, this is another great story. I was over by the great Dennis D. Young from Styx, who's a dear friend of mine who I often play with. I often play in his band. He was gracious enough to do a keyboard solo, a Dennis D. Young vintage, Oberheim OB8 keyboard solo on one of the brand new tracks that's coming out on the new Tokyo Motorfist record in early 2020.
Very cool. Yeah, I saw the tweet. It's like, whoa, that's fucking badass. I suppose when in Rome, if you're in Wisconsin and he's there, why not, right?
Yeah, he's outside of Chicago, so we played. Yeah, we played at the Arcata Theater in St. Charles, Illinois, and he invited us over to his house, and we just had the time of our lives. And he played us his new record that's coming out on Frontiers in early 2020. And let me tell you, it is fabulous, incredible, amazing. Every word you could think of to describe something's great. You will not believe your ears when you hear the new Dennis DeYoung record. It's that fucking good.
I tell you what, I mean, and it makes me kind of happy, especially with having something like Frontiers around, because, guys from your era and that my era too, even though I wasn't, in the industry, per se, but it's really giving you guys a chance to get material out there without having to do it by yourself,
Oh, it's tremendous. And they've become they're our Italian family. They're friends and like our family in that sense that they really take care of us. There's a personal touch there. And they've been doing they get it better than anybody. And so we're making our new record right now. The new Tokyo Motorfist record is going to blow people away. And we'll probably do one or two new tracks on the boat. So we're really looking forward to that.
Very cool. I got Scotty checking in from Canada, says it's only 18 up here near Alaska where he is. And he also says Tokyo Motorfist is awesome and cranking since 2017. Cannot wait for the new music.
Oh, thanks, brother. I appreciate that. And greetings to all in Canada. We love you.
And take off. Fucking hosers. They're all hosers. But I love them. I was going to ask you, do you think Trixter got their fair due?
Well, that's fair due. How do I say this? Let
me stop because it seems like Trixter sometimes seems to be the butt of people's jokes at time, and I don't agree with it because I think it's it's good, it's fun, good music. You know what I mean?
I certainly do. And you know what? The butt of any joke. Well, let me ask you this. A band that sold 1 million records, toured the world, #1 video. We owned MTV for the better part of 6 months in from the end of 1990 to 91. Every dream we ever had came true 1,000 times. I don't care about anybody's jokes, and my bank account can approve that. So, whatever. I don't give a fuck. And you know what, man? A lot of the bands of that genre, we've all been the butt of the jokes. I mean, Look at Kip Winger. I mean, Nobody got it worse than him. And, but you know what? We're still here. And then, my good friend Joe Elliott from Def Leppard, I think he said it best. Look at what's happening next summer of 2020. You got Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, and Joan Jett going out on a 21-date stadium tour around America. What's bigger than that? It shows you that hard rock, heavy metal, hair metal, whatever you want to fucking call it, it still rules the world. And I was a part of the Def Leppard Journey tour of 2018 last year. And, I was a part of that. And I'm glad to say both bands, and I was included in that, we sold 1 million tickets.
Yeah.
And that's nothing to be the brunt of any jokes about. So, but do I think we got our due? Here's my scenario on that. I wish I couldn't be happier with everything that happened to us. Would I have liked our record to come out 2 years earlier? And I think we would have had much better of a career. I think the biggest regret I have with Trixter is that we weren't on a better record label, because if you look at the perception of our success, which was the amount of #1 videos, the amount of time, that we had #1, Give It To Me Good was #1 on MTV for 13 weeks straight. Give 1 in a Million was #1 for 9 weeks straight. And the amount of touring that we did, and we weren't a buy-on band. Every tour that we did, we were asked to be on. We got paid to be on it, and we fucking sold a lot of tickets and a lot of merchandise. There were a couple tours where we were on, and a couple nights, even with legends like the Scorpions, we sold more merchandise than they did on certain things. So, it was as real as it can be. But getting back to what I was saying about the success of it, had we been on a Geffen Records and John Kolodner met with our managers while Trixter was blowing up, and there was maybe some, I don't know this to be true or a fact, but there was talk of us trying to kind of jump ship, because we knew that, sadly, MCA Records at that time was the worst label that you could ever be on. Music Cemetery of America is certainly true. So we should have probably sold 2 to 3 million records on our first record. But look, I'm not blaming anybody. Everybody who was behind us at MCA Records, the great Al Teller, Richard Palmese, Jeff Bywater, Susan Hendler, all these great record company people, they put all they had into us. And it's just the way it is. But do I have sour grapes for it? Not in any way, shape, or form, man. Listen, I say this all the time when I do interviews, and I mean it from the heart. I truly am Trixter. My band guys, whether they'll agree or not, I think PJ would, the other two guys, who the fuck knows. But I will tell you this, I am truly one of the luckiest guys and one of the luckiest musicians that ever walked the face of the earth. And I mean that from the heart, and that comes from all my fans, my friends, and my family, and guys like you who are always there to support me.
Absolutely. Oh, speaking of supporting, Big John Murray just sent me a message. He says, "Tell Steve I say hey and much love. It's been a while, but has always had my utmost respect since the beginning."
Oh, I love John, and tell John I missed him. I remember John was hanging with us when I was on the Def Leppard tour. He took Rick Allen out to dinner, and I'm pissed he didn't invite me. So. But I still love you, John.
Let me ask you this: is there still a Trixter? Are you guys done now? I mean, what is the story with you guys?
Well, there's always a Trixter when Steve Brown is on the earth. You know what I mean?
Love it.
So. Steve and PJ, myself and PJ Farley, yeah, we're still out there doing it with Eric Martin. Pete and Gus, I haven't really spoken to them much, and you'd have to ask them what they're doing. But Pete and PJ and I, we do this thing with Eric Martin called Eric Martin and Trixter, and we go out and we do a Mr. Big Greatest Hits set, and I sing the Trixter songs. And we've been doing that for the better part of the last 3 years. We've been to Japan, and we plan to take it all over the world. So that's kind of where we're at. We've had offers, and every time an offer comes in for Trixter, it's given to the other guys, and sometimes they choose not to show up. But if the offer's good enough for me, and that's one of the good things about being a guitar player who can sing as good as a lead singer and play guitar. I go out, you don't want to come, you don't want to do the gigs, I'm going to go out and do the gigs and sing my songs. And then that's the way it is. People want to hear Trixter. It's just the way it is. And if someone doesn't want to come, I can't hold them. I can't make anybody get on a plane and fly out to a gig. So that's pretty much the answer on that. Yeah, there's always a Trixter. We're looking forward to 2020. It's the 30th anniversary of the first record. I'm sure we're going to do shows. Who's going to be there? I can't tell you. As it is right now, the Trixter that we've been playing with is me, PJ Farley, and Joey Casada from the great ZO2 band, and who plays with us with Eric Martin, and that's pretty much all I can tell you on that.
Well, okay, yeah, and like you said, fucking offers come in, and obviously, when it comes to offers, Motley Crue is no fuck, you can't look past what Motley got offered to reunite when they signed contracts saying they would never get back together. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew. Yeah, that was a guarantee. You knew was never going to hold up. I knew those guys were going to be back.
I always thought, I looked at this, it's like, dude, this is fucking wrestling entertainment at its finest. They did the loser leaves town match. Then all of a sudden, 6 months later, that loser comes back to town. You knew it was going to, I'm not calling them losers, obviously. I'm just making the reference, but you knew it. Yeah, you knew it was going to happen. And some people just lost their shit. It's like, dude, what's the big deal? I was at the very last show. Am I mad? No.
Yeah, and hopefully you didn't have to buy tickets. But yeah, I mean, the good news is, fuck it, it's my. You know what, man? Those guys are my buds. I fucking love Motley Crue. I'm so happy that they're back. And you know what? What does Motley Crue have? What have they done their whole career? They do whatever the fuck they want to do, and God bless them for it. And I'm so happy that they're back. And I'm hoping that I'm out there with them at some point on some of these shows in some way, shape, or form.
I think it's funny, though. I was looking at the ticket prices, and which are just astronomical, but I get that's how the business is right now. And I look back to 1988, the Monsters of Rock tour, Van Halen, Scorpions, Dokken, Metallica, Kingdom Come, stadium tour, $25 main floor. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, listen, man, the touring business is a whole new game when there's, when people are back then, 1988 on the Monsters of Rock tour, people weren't getting music for free and getting basically every release and, so the difference is now we have to make our living with live music and, t-shirts. It's tickets and t-shirts, man, and VIP meet and greets and any other way you can make a dollar. And the fans that are bitching about it, well, you know what you can do if you don't like the price of tickets? Buy 100,000, buy 1 million records, buy 1 million downloads, help everybody out. Not like Def Leppard and Motley Crue and Poison need the help, but listen. It's all, I laugh about it all the time. I was talking to somebody today. Oh, dude, the fucking ticket prices are so much. I'm like, what are you getting to see, man? First off, you're getting to see history. You're never going to see this bill again in a stadium. You're getting to see history. Fucking save your shillings, man. Go out, instead of buying so much fucking beer or Jack Daniels, save your fucking money, and save it for the ticket and go see the show. And
Exactly, but still buy the cocaine. First half of the show brought to you by Beater Amplification, ladies and gentlemen. Check out Beater Amplification. If you're a guitar player, you're a bass player, check them out. Hand-wired, hand-built, 100 watts of testicular fortitude. Pull 2 tubes and you got yourself a 50. You got your old-school Metallica tone, old-school Kiss and AC/DC tone, and that old-school clean-ass Fender tone. These things are badass. And yes, keep your eye out for it because the Izzy Presley TCB1 signature model will be coming out soon. So there's that. Steve, let's just hold on for a minute. We're going to take a short little break here. Be about a minute and a half. Awesome. And we'll come right back with more Steve Brown and another fucking podcast. Rockwood Saloon Authentic Apparel takes rock and roll fashion to a new level with their tees and tanks for men and women. They also make custom shirts, jackets, vests, pants, hoodies, beanies, and more. The Rockwood Graphics Department can design anything from your logo, t-shirt design, promo posters, band swag, and printed at great prices. From tour shirts and custom stage gear to killer threads for the street to the stage, Rockwood Saloon has it all. Rockwood Saloon, authentic rock and roll apparel for stage and street. World tour tested for quality, comfort, style, and durability. Check them out at www.rockwoodsaloon.com. That's rockwoodsaloon.com.
If you need to promote your band or business, or just want to stylize, personalize, or customize your ride, check out vid-decals.com. Want to create and customize your own stickers representing your band, or make your own bumper sticker? Vid Decals can do it. All stickers are printed on quality vinyl and can be placed on any flat surface. Stickers are an affordable way to promote your band or business. Go to vid-decals.com to get started. That's vid-decals.com. vid-decals.com.
RockstarLeatherworks.com is your home for badass rock and roll gear. Featuring 100% handmade leather bands, watches, cuffs, bracelets, and more, Rockstar Leatherworks has something for everybody. Whether you are going to the show or you are in it, you can find something to fit your needs. Choose from a variety of designs or create your own masterpiece. Their bands and watches are second to none. They also ship internationally. Who needs a stage to be a rock star? Check out RockstarLeatherworks.com.
Hey, what's going on? This is Tom Arnold. I like fat women and cocaine. And you're listening to Izzy Presley here on another fucking podcast. And I know Izzy from Cocaine Anonymous meetings. I've actually seen him at the meetings with Ace Von Johnson from, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but Ace has got a bad coke problem. And his sponsor is Josh Todd from, and again, I shouldn't say this out loud, but Josh is his sponsor for Buck Cherry. He's addicted to upskirt porn. And they're both being sponsored by the Eagles. the whole band, the Eagles. Anyways, another fucking podcast right here with Izzy Presley, and call your sponsor. Fucking A.
God, I fucking love Craig Gass. That is fucking hilarious. Second half of the show, yeah, right? Second half of the show brought to you by A&P Productions Laser Engraving. That's A&P Laser. They are out of central Minnesota. They are so good. They can laser engrave a hot dog bun. You have a sidearm. You need handcuffs. Anything you need. Laser engraved. Hit them up. And it's the holiday season. Get something special for Dad. Get him a flask. Get him the Another Effing Podcast Roadie Pack. Get him something like that. Because, he would really appreciate it. aplaser.com and John Palumbo Design. We love us some John Palumbo. You have a band, you have a website, you have a brand new business. You need a new logo, you need a website. Hit up our good buddy, John Palumbo at johnpalumbodesign.com. All right, listener feedback. John says, what's up, guys? Steve, you are so correct. People want to spend $3,000 to meet Kiss, but somehow feel it's okay to blow up my fucking phone for free shit. Oh, this is Big John Murray. VIP, parking, on stage, etc. It gets old fast. Hell, I don't even know if I'm on the thing yet. Ha! Funny. Plus, much respect from day one for Steve. Love you and hope to see you soon. That's Big John checking in and listening live now. I love it.
That's it, baby. I miss you, John. I'll see you soon, brother.
And Dick Chasen says, Izzy keeps talking about cocaine. He's going to be sponsored by Tom Arnold, and I think we just heard that I am. All right, very well. It's funny, Steve. I've known you for a few years now. I guess I don't really know a lot of your backstory. I mean, we've never sat down over beers and gotten hammered and told war stories or anything. We've definitely gotten hammered, but. So you're a Jersey guy. You're an East Coast guy. At what part of your life do you start playing guitar?
1978, man. Started playing guitar after discovering Kiss Rock and Roll Over at my now sister-in-law, my brother's girlfriend at the time. And she's now my sister-in-law. Guess what is this? 41 years later, in my sister-in-law's brother's room, I saw Kiss Rock and Roll Over. And I saw the album cover, and I completely lost my mind. I ran into his room and picked it up and said, "Can I borrow this? Can I borrow this record?" I didn't know what it was, But I saw the cover, and it was so fucking cool that I had to have it. And I borrowed it, and I remember, just like yesterday, I put it on my vinyl record player, dropped the needle down, heard the beginning of I Want You, and I was like, oh, this is nice, the acoustic part. And then when the drums and the guitars kicked in, the I Want You, I lost my fucking mind. And 2 weeks later, I was taking guitar lessons at the local Music Liors guitar shop in Maywood, New Jersey. And then right about the time that I started taking guitar lessons, one of my neighbors had older brothers who were big music heads, and one of my friend Doug, his brother played guitar, and he said, "Steve, you like Kiss now? You got to hear this." And he played me Van Halen. He played me Running with the Devil.
Wow.
And then he played me. He said, "You got to hear this," and he played Eruption, and I could not believe, and I didn't even believe it was a guitar. And I was like, this is the most incredible thing that I ever heard in my life. And pretty much right there and then, I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So, yeah, thank you, Eddie Van Halen, Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Ace Frehley, Peter Criss, for wrecking my life in one way or another. But no, man, it's been an incredible journey. So with that being said, yeah, that's when I started playing guitar. And it was an immediate passion of mine. I was way into sports as well. So it was sports, baseball, football, basketball, and rock and roll. And as I was getting older with the sports, I realized I wasn't going to be 6'2", 250 pounds and be able to be a running back for the New York Giants. So my interest in sports waned, but my interest in girls got a lot bigger around 12 and 13. And I learned very early on that playing guitar, and especially at that time, 1982, 1983, 1984, the hard rock that we've all come to know and love, the beautiful 80s, the Van Halen, the Def Leppard, the Motley Crue, the Bon Jovi, nothing was bigger. And I wanted all of that. And I signed up for it. I started Trixter when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And, yeah, I still have my handwritten logo from when I came up with the name and designed it. And then I met Pete Lauren. He was a couple years older than me, and I met him and brought him. He wasn't a singer at the time, but he was such a good-looking guy. All the girls loved him, and he was like a kind of, I think he was an athlete. He used to ride dirt bikes, but all the chicks loved him. And I said, it's kind of like what Nikki Sixx said about Vince Neil or whatever. I don't give a shit what he sings like, but what he does with his body and what the chicks do when they see him. And that's what it was. But I was able to kind of teach Pete how to sing, and I started writing songs at 12 or 13, and I was off to the races with the band, and met Mark Gus Scott. He was a neighbor of mine, and brought him in. And then a couple years after that, the great PJ Farley, who PJ and I have been playing together now for 33 years, and we're still going strong. And that was the mid 80s. And then the magic started happening for Trixter in about 1986, and that's when the ball started really rolling to where I started really coming into my own as a songwriter. And something happened in New Jersey where our good friends John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, and the Bon Jovi camp, they went to the stratosphere. And before Bon Jovi blew up with Slippery When Wet, we had met John on the 7800 Degrees tour. And we'd given him one of our demo tapes right when Slippery came out. And he called us on our hotline. And he was a big fan of ours from day one. And, he was like, keep up the good work and keep sending me tapes. So we would do that. And John would call and say, you guys are doing great. And then when Bon Jovi took off, there was another band in line, and that was the Skid Row guys.
Yeah.
And John, we were backstage at the Bon Jovi Cinderella New Year's Eve show at the Meadowlands Arena, and we were lucky enough to sneak backstage for that. And we saw John after the show, and he came right up to us and said, guys, I want to introduce you to another band that I'm working with. I think you guys need to be friends. And that was Dave Sabo and Rachel Bolan and Scotty Hill, the Skid Row guys. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget it, man. And then what happened was right after that, we became really tight with the Skid Row guys. And again, 30 plus years later, we're still really good friends. I mean, those guys are like my degenerate New Jersey brothers, Rachel, Scotty, and Snake. And they took us under our wing, and John kind of told Snake, take care of Steve and the Trixter guys. And that's what they did. And we used their attorney, and lo and behold, a couple of years later, Skid Row blew up and took over the world with their debut record. And we were next in line. We kind of worked our way up to be the biggest club band in New Jersey. We were selling out everywhere. We got signed, and look what happened to us. And, here we are, and here I am on the Izzy Presley fucking podcast.
You've done that diatribe before, haven't you?
Yeah, man.
Couple times. You think the thing that captivates me about that story is it seems like, and I think it's this way with comics too, is that East Coast bands really have a tightness. Does that make sense? Because it seems like a lot of the West Coast bands, it's like yeah, we know these guys, blah 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 blah. But like the East Coast guys, it almost seems more like it's like more of a family between the bands.
Yeah, well, that there's a funny thing. I think you could find it out there. Anybody can look on the internet. It's a really this kind of sums it all up. Bon Jovi on the New Jersey tour, they had crew shirts made, and I think they might have even sold these shirts. And it said on the shirt, "The Brotherhood."
Yeah.
And that couldn't be, that is the truth. And, and I say this again with a heavy heart, and with all my heart, that without guys like John Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora, Snake Sabo, Dave Sabo, Rachel Bolan, and Scotty Hill helping us out when I was a kid, because those guys are older than me. I don't know where I'd be. And, and I do the same, and I did the same with guys that came out after us, with Trixter, and tried to help my friends out. And I think that is very much a Jersey thing. And I will tell you that when we went out to LA to record the first Trixter record, we didn't have many friends out there. And the LA bands seemed there was too much competition and not enough. I think that's true. And I've heard that from numerous guys that since, years later, I've become good friends with. But I know, like, talking to Stevie Rochelle and certain other guys, I don't want to mention too many names, but, we weren't too fondly taken in when we were living in LA, and we would go to the Rainbow or go to clubs and be like, yeah, man, we just got signed to Mechanic MCA Records. We're making a record, man. And, we'd meet these bands and they'd look at us like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
But in New Jersey or New York, whether you'd be at the Cat Club or you'd be at Mingles or you'd be at the Playpen or the Birch Hill, these great New Jersey clubs, or, the Bazaar Bar, or wherever, you'd be, the guys in bands, you'd be like, come here, man, have a beer and a shot with us. That was the difference, I think.
Well, I think Stevie just wanted to be nice to you because he wanted to know how big your cock was for when the internet was invented, and he could create Metal Sludge so he could talk about it. And I say that in jest because Stevie's one of my bros. But
I know. I love Stevie. And, here's a great story. Well, so before we made our first Trixter record, my manager and I, my good friend Ken Mako, we went out to L.A. to interview for producers. And Ken, my manager, went to college with Rick Rubin, who we all know, Rick Rubin, Def Jam, American Records, and and George Draculius, who produced the first two Black Crowes records, Tom Petty, and George Draculius was the guy who produced the Trixter demo tapes that got us signed. Mm-hmm. And so, long story short, first time I ever go to L.A., we go to Rick Rubin's office right off Sunset Strip. And as I'm walking in, Stevie Rochelle's walking out. He's walking out because he had just had a meeting with Rick Rubin, and they were interested, because that was the height of the whole, whatever you want to call it, the hard rock, 80s hard rock hair metal scene. Mm-hmm. And Tough was one of the biggest bands on the scene. And I remember meeting Stevie, and he was super cool. And he was like, oh, yeah, man, I know about you guys. And we had our publicist at the time was this guy, Chip Ruggieri, who worked for Britney Fox and I think he worked for Cinderella, and I think he worked for Tough at the time. And so we had a mutual thing without meeting, but still to this day, Stevie's a dear friend. And that's just a cool story that, I think Tough almost got signed by Rick Rubin. So there you go.
Yeah, I love Stevie to death. The only thing I don't like about him is he's a fucking Packers fan.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what?
I
like Aaron Rodgers, man. So what can I tell you? And I'm not that big of a fan of any football team to really give a shit. And my New York Giants, really, really suck right now. So I don't give a fuck about football in any way, shape, or form.
Unless the Giants are good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Do you think that Trixter translated well into an arena band? And the reason I ask that is because, I saw you guys on the Revenge tour in St. Paul. And maybe it was because I was in Kiss mode that I didn't care. Not that you guys were bad, but I just I was like, But then I saw you in a club and you blew my fucking head off. And it was amazing. So that's kind of where I'm coming at with that question.
Oh, I think without question. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you were probably bitter, and you maybe the girlfriend you were with at the time wanted to come hang out with us after the show, which was a common thing that we
right?
ran into. I don't think guys back in the day were so mad at us for the music or didn't like us for the music. It was probably because their girlfriends wanted to hang out with us. But that's another joke. Don't take it to heart. Don't get crazy. I'm just kidding, everybody.
That gets a Pat Fontaine laugh.
So getting back to it, the arena thing, that was all we ever wanted to do.
Right.
And so I think the story that sums it up best was our first arena show ever was opening for Poison on the Flesh and Blood Tour 1991. It was Poison, Slaughter, and Trixter at the Muskegon, Michigan arena there, the hockey arena. Sold out show, 10,000 people. Our first arena show, legit first time ever playing an arena. And we got out on that stage, man, and everything when you play arenas, and you've all heard the stories where everything goes wrong, it was horrible, this and that. I tell you, from that time we got on that stage, that we played a half-hour show, we fucking owned it because we had waited all of our lives to play an arena. And I think that Trixter was made to be an arena band. If you saw us, anybody out there who saw us open for Poison on that tour, or you saw us especially open for the Scorpions when we were fucking number one on MTV, getting 1 in a million, 8 weeks, we were fucking, you could see the videos, 22,000 people at Arco Arena in Sacramento, California. We own that place, man. And that's what we did. And out on the Warrant Firehouse tour, that's what we wanted to do. And we did it well. Sadly, we didn't get it. We never were able to get to that. We were always that middle band, first band opener thing. We sadly never got that opportunity. We headlined some big theater things, but we never got that chance to do our own arena show. Let's say like Warrant got the opportunity to do a headlining tour on that Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour that we did with them.
Yep.
But I think, like, again, if our record had come out a couple years earlier, I think things would have been a lot different for us, as they would have been for a lot of bands.
Right. Well, if that record comes out 2 years earlier, that means that second record comes out 2 years earlier, which was a very good record.
Yeah, hell, and well, listen, man, that's when, the Trixter Here record, certainly that is one that I certainly have a little bit of sour grapes for, because it's such a great record, and that's when I took over the reins of the band, producing, writing, and engineering. I basically learned all I could from my great producer Bill and Jim Ray, who did the first record, but I wasn't happy with the way that record came out. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. Sonically, there's just, as any guy in a band knows, but most people don't know, when you're on a major label, there are a lot of people you have to answer to, and that whole thing of creative control, when you're a new band, you don't have creative control. You have to listen to the people who write your check.
Right.
And there were a lot of people, and everybody had a different opinion. There were too many cooks in the kitchen, if you will. But with the success of the first record, I was able to go back and regain the power that I wanted to say that at 21 years old, I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yep.
And the Trixter Here record shows that. And we were making that record while we were on tour, and PJ and I, we were doing demos. PJ would program the drum machine. I had a mobile studio, and you can ask anybody, Bill Leverty, ask the guys in Warrant. I had this great little studio. I was doing demos in the dressing room. We get done playing for 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 people on that Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour. Instead of going out partying, I was making records in the dressing room, and that record was the peak and the best thing that we ever did. And it was just sad when it came out that it was the end of that genre.
Yeah.
And but still to this day, man, it was an honor and a privilege to be able to make that record. We got $1 million from MCA Records when we renegotiated our contract. I was in the negotiating room with the president of MCA Records, with my manager and my lawyer. We got $1 million to make that record, $500,000 advance. Thank you. It bought me a house. And then we were able to make the record that we always wanted to make. We worked in the best studios. We had Jimbo Barton from Queensryche and Rush co-producing and engineering the record. It was fucking amazing, man. We were living the dream, but sadly, we could have made Dark Side on the Moon or Sgt. Pepper or Pyromania. Nobody would have given a shit. Gave a shit in 1992. That's just the way it was, and that's the way it was for everybody.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say this, especially about that Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour. Janie Lane is the most underrated motherfucker that this business has ever seen.
Hands down, man, and I got to be honest with you there. I was there through all of it, And I remember, especially in the beginning when we had met the Warrant guys many times before, but we immediately formed a brotherhood with them. And even before we did with the Firehouse guys, because the Firehouse guys were new to us, and the Warrant guys, we immediately gravitated towards. Those motherfuckers certainly taught us how to drink and how to party. I will tell you that. And
right.
Still to this day, those guys are, dear friends of ours. And that was all of our collectively between Warrant, Trixter, and Firehouse. That was all of our most successful parts of our career was that tour. That was a top 10 grossing tour in 1991. No one in the business thought we would do the kind of numbers that we did. And we're all bonded by that tour that we did. But Janie Lane, I will say this. So underrated, one of the most talented, tortured people I ever met in my life. Was one of the hardest drinking, smoking, drugs, everything you can imagine. But he would get out on that stage and you would fucking never know it. That guy sang like a motherfucker. He was one of the best frontmen, had the best raps. He was unbelievable. And I would sit there and watch him. And I remember me and Pete would be like shaking our heads because we were out with them the night before, and we'd be watching them after our set and be hungover as hell. And you'd be watching Janie Lane. And I'd be going to Pete and PJ going like, how the fuck is this guy doing it? And he's smoking a cigarette, holding a bottle of Cuervo, kicking ass. Like I'm not impressed by a lot of people, but that guy certainly impressed me. He was great to us, and we had the time of our lives. And I'm sad that, to see the road that he went down, and we all, the music business and our genre, the hard rock genre, we lost the giant when we lost Janie Lane, and I still miss him.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We even hardly even touched on the Def Leppard thing. Jacobus, Jeff Jacobus from the Cruises, who you will get to know very well.
Right.
He works in hospitality, so he brings you your alcohol before your show. Wants to know 1 day notice before filling in for Vivian Campbell. Did you know the parts, and were you nervous?
Well, 1 day's notice was last year with Phil Collin.
Oh, Phil Collin. Okay. My bad.
Yeah. So where do you want to start with this? So yeah, let's answer that question. Yeah, 1 day's notice. Well, as we all know, Def Leppard, Phil Collin and Def Leppard guys are like my older brothers. I've known them since I was 17. Their manager, Peter Mensch, one of the greatest rock managers ever, was the guy who helped Trixter out. I became friends with Phil and Def Leppard guys on the Hysteria tour, and it's been a brotherhood and friendship that's retained. Phil is like my older, British brother and godfather all wrapped up in one. And when Vivian got diagnosed with cancer back in 2013, Phil was like to the guys, I got the guy. Steve's our guy. Joe was a huge 40-foot Ringo fan and Stereo Fallout. He loved my records, knew I could sing. That's why I got the gig, not because of guitar playing, because I could sing the parts, Pour some sugar on me.
Right.
I could sing that shit. That's my bag. So that's how I got the gig. And so I've been filling in with Vivian for the last 6 years doing, various tours and whatnot. But last year, Phil had a serious problem. His wife, Helen, gave birth to their son, Jackson, and had some massive complications. And, the good news is with that is that I had known all the material, I just knew all Vivian's parts and all of Vivian's vocals. So I had to just learn a couple things. I had known all of Phil's solos already because I'd played them for years. I played in my 80s show, Rubik's Cube, which I've been in for the last 7 years.
Oh, so that's right.
Yeah, we play all the Leppard stuff. So I had known all that, but needless to say, man, it was one of those things to where when a family member like Phil calls me and says, I need you, you got to help me out. And the Def Leppard guys, I was there. It wasn't even a question. And I got a call at 7:00 in the morning. And by noon, I was up in Albany, New York, working on parts. And 2 days later, I was on stage in front of 27,000 people at the Hershey Park Stadium in Hershey, Pennsylvania with Journey. And played pretty much a flawless show, playing the other guy singing and playing Phil Collins' guitar parts. So, I mean, listen, it all goes that, there's no band that For me, Def Leppard is one of my favorite bands. So to have to play their material, it's part of my DNA. And, the greatest compliment I got from Phil was before he left, he told the guys, he told their manager, and he told a couple other important people in the organization. He said, there's no one on earth who could do this job but Steve.
Wow.
And, I think that's true. And I'm always there for them, and they know that. And I'm sure this isn't the last time I play for Def Leppard.
Well, I tell you what, and I'm a stickler for bands not using tracks, yada, yada, yada. And if there's one band that I would give an okay for, is Def Leppard.
Well, you can give them, but that's one band
they don't.
That doesn't.
Exactly. That's where I was getting at. But they don't. They are all 100% live because they sound so perfect that you would think that to replicate that live, they would need tracks, but they don't.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I get that question asked to me all the time, especially musician guys, my buds in band. Hey, dude, what are they using? What tracks are they using on their vocals? And I'm there, man. And God's honest truth, there are no backing tracks whatsoever with Def Leppard. Hell no on the backing vocals. And, that's one thing that Joe, Sav, and Phil and the band, they take so fucking serious. And that was the biggest thing. And I'll never forget, before the first show that I did with Def Leppard, we did a private gig in Vegas in 2014. And Joe said to me before we went on, he goes, man, I don't give a fuck what you play on guitar, but make sure you get all those vocals. And I knew, man. And that was, again, that's why I got the gig, because I have that, the Mutt Lange, that high vocal, airy, gritty, and that was it. But the only thing Def Leppard uses is there's some sound effects that are triggered,
right,
and then there's some of the percussion loops that Rick plays along to in Let's Get Rocked and Love Bites, and that's it.
And he has every right to be able to do that. And it's not like it's like a huge backing track in the song. It's just something that's there because the song needs it. You know what I'm saying?
And listen, you know what, man? And again, with the backing tracks, with every band, pop band, whatever, who fucking cares? I don't care who's using tracks. We all know there's big bands out there. The singer's not singing. It's all on
Paul
tape.
Stanley.
You know what? At this point in the game, especially with the older cats, listen, I'd rather hear that. I'd rather hear somebody sound good than hearing some of these guys going out croaking on stage and embarrassing themselves. Who fucking cares? I don't care. I just want to go see a great rock concert and have fucking fun. But I will say, Steven Tyler is still the best and the baddest motherfucker out there, still killing it at 72 years old, along with my good friend Dennis DeYoung, who's going to be 73, who sings every one of his Styx songs in the original fucking key.
Wow.
Still sings and sounds as good as he did back in 1977. The guy still got it, and Steven Tyler is better now than fucking ever. But getting back to the backing tracks, we all know Motley's fucking Pro Tool to the balls.
Oh, yeah. But they admit it.
Who fucking cares? Go out, do your fucking show. All I want to do is have a good time, and everybody should lighten the fuck up and let every band do whatever they want, because all these new metal bands, most of them, they're all playing to their fucking Pro Tools record. I know producers who, after they make a record with a lot of these new active rock bands, they spend a month with the band teaching them how to fucking play live and press play on their Pro Tools rig. And you know what? I don't even give a fuck about that. Wow. Do whatever you gotta do. Play and play along, but that ain't Def Leppard, and that ain't Tokyo Motorfist, and that ain't Trixter, and I don't care. But at the end of the day, just lighten up. I'm tired of seeing it on Blabbermouth. I'm tired of seeing it on Metal Sludge about who's using tracks. Who fucking cares? Get over it, everybody.
You need to call into Trunk and have this debate with them, because this would be hilarious. Go ahead.
I don't need to do that. And Eddie's I love Eddie. Eddie's my bro. He's one of my dear friends. And I've had this conversation with him and whatever. And listen, as we all do, anything we say, everybody's looking for a headline, especially with Eddie. He's a target, especially when it comes to Kiss. you know. But listen, that's his opinion on it, and let him be, you know, and that let him, and Eddie always speaks it from his heart, and I love him for that, and we all do, just like you do and like I do. But I'm just tired of hearing it. Fucking who cares? It's the way it is right now. Listen, man. You know, if we're gonna do that, let's go back to every band who makes a record for the last 20 years. Let's tell every singer you can't tune your vocals. You know?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah. I know. I get it. I get it. Just before I let you go here, got a couple comments. Sledgehammer checking in. Thank you, Steve Brown, for being an Aaron Rodgers fan. In your fucking face, Izzy. As a Packers fan, I find Izzy insufferable. Go Pack, go or something. And Mike says, just got home. Looking forward to hearing this whole show on YouTube later. Thanks for joining this great show, Steve. Oh, there you go. People loving this. Dick Chasen checking in. Love hearing Steve speak. He seems grateful for his career and fans. He seems like a cool dude. Much respect. So there you go. I think this went very, very well. Thank you very much.
This is awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Dude, it's my pleasure.
I wish you were here, man. I'm sitting in my. We got these. We're up at this water park resort. We were just in the hot tub, so this is a really cool thing. We're in the hot tub. It's like
nice.
You know, beautiful indoor outdoor, so you can be out in the 5-degree weather. And I'm in my room right now. I got my portable recording studio. I'm working on the new Tokyo Motorfist record. Sitting next to a gas fireplace. Talking to Izzy Presley. Life is pretty fucking good right now.
Can't complain. People want to find you online. How do they do that?
Well, you find me on Instagram, Steve Brown Rocks, and on Twitter, and that's pretty much it. It'll give you everything you need to know. And, again, thank you, dude, for being such a friend, and I look forward to hanging with you on the cruise. Yeah, we're going to do that jam thing. So
yeah, we are.
Whoever wants to come, I don't know about it, but, Larry and everybody on the Monsters Rock cruise, I love you guys, and we're looking forward to, when is it, February 6th we set sail?
Something like that. I just know I fly to Florida and get on a boat.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Exactly. Just hold on tight. We'll say goodbye off the air, all right?
Okay, brother.
All right. Steve Brown, Trixter, Def Leppard, Tokyo Motorfist, and you can catch him on the road right now with the Wizards of Winter. So if they're coming through your town, please go ahead and check that out. Next week, Thursday is a very special show on Thursday. It's probably going to be Johnny Martin and Ace Von Johnson from LA Guns, along with Alex Kane of Life, Sex, and Death, Shark Island, and that's right, Enough's Enough in studio. Nice little, we're going to get a little drunken summit going on here. Why not? Tuesday night possibly might have an actress. Possibly. Not going to say who it is because I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Then we'll catch up. We'll give you the full story about Nashville last week and Minneapolis this weekend with a tribute to Ace Frehley. Huge thank you to Tyson Leslie from Vixen for having me out to Nashville, bringing me out to host Rare Hair. It was an absolute blast. So we'll see you guys next week, and don't forget, my name is Izzy Presley, and what I lack in talent, I make up for in cock. Hit up all that social media at Real Izzy Presley all the way across the board, and of course the show page is Another Effing Podcast. Hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. Y'all know what to do. And the PayPal, izzypresley@yahoo.com. This has been Another Fucking Podcast.